Incredible attack by the Ukrainian army. Russian air defense systems destroyed. Hello, the Pioneer viewers. The Russia-Ukraine war remains on our agenda. News and analysis about the war are delivered to you as soon as possible. As you know, the war has been going on for a long time. The long-lasting war has affected the states in many ways. The economic crisis that emerges during times of the war continues to negatively affect people's lifestyles. People whose lives are negatively affected have psychological difficulties and look for hope. If you give people hope that they can hold on to in times of the crisis, they will fight for you. But if you cannot give them a dream, they will slowly leave you. In times of war, efficient and effective use of the resources is very important. The quality of military personnel determines the limits of what you can do with the equipment you have. If your soldiers are well trained, you can use your weapons to their full capacity. But if your soldiers don't know how to use the weapons and are not professional, the resources you have are not important. It has been a long time since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. The Russian army had a very difficult time against the Ukrainian army, which is initially underestimated. The Ukrainian army put up a strong resistance against the Russian invasion. The Ukrainian defense became a great example to the world. The strategic successes of the Ukrainian army is being talked about in the entire world and continues in the front of the eyes of the whole world. From the first days of the invasion, the Ukrainian army decided to carry out a strategic plan against the Russian army. The most important detail in this strategic plan was to hit Russian targets and their strategic areas. In doing so, the Ukrainian army destroyed many Russian bridges, outpost facilities, and strategic commanders. Today, the result of the success of the Ukrainian army revealed the current state of the war. The war is expected to continue in the coming period. A recent event clearly shows that the Ukrainian army continues its strategy. According to the information obtained, the Ukrainian army launched an incredible attack against the Russian targets. As a result of the attack launched by the Ukrainian army, many targets belonging to the Russian army were destroyed. There was no statement from the Russian forces after the attack. Let's take a look at the Ukrainian attack and the destroyed Russian vehicles. As the Pioneer, we continue to report on the Russia-Ukraine war. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss our daily map reports and reports on the agenda. I also read all your comments on our videos. Please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us. Tell us in the comments what content you would like to see in the Pioneer channel. Let's start if you are ready. The Pioneer reports. Recently, the Ukrainian army released a video showing the destruction of the Russian targets. The images spread on social media and were watched by thousands of people in a short time. After the images, the strong attacks of the Ukrainian army against Russian targets come to the agenda again. The press service of the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces shared a 1-minute clip of their operations in their post. It was determined that the shared clip belongs to the operations near the eastern Donetsk region of the Ukraine. The caption of the video said that 3 Russian air defense systems were shot down within a week. It was determined that the video released by the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces was shot from the air. It was understood that the targets were hit from a distance, causing large flames and smoke to rise into the air from the impact. Russian President Vladimir Putin's army lost 2 9C-36 detection and targeting stations and 3 Buk air defense systems on the Donetsk front line thanks to the professional attacks by the Special Operation Forces operators, the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces press service said. The details of the operation are quite surprising. Operators from the 3rd Special Forces Regiment of the Special Operations Forces detected Russian sets in the area. Following the detection, an operation plan was drawn up to the Russian targets. After missiles and artillery units opened suppressive fire on the Russian targets, 1 missile system was completely destroyed as a result of the fire damage. As a result of the firing, 2 more missile systems were disabled and could not be restored. The presence of the Russian troops on the front line will be completely eliminated by the operations of the Ukrainian Special Forces. Recently, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry shared different images of the destruction of the air defense systems of the Russian army. In the images shared, it was seen that the Ukrainian army units carried out an intense attacks on the Russian targets. According to the information obtained, the images in the question were taken by the 14th Regiment of the Ukrainian Army. In a different part of the front, Ukrainian army units continued their attacks against the Russian targets. During the attack of the Ukrainian army, video support is also provided by unmanned aerial vehicles. In this way, the operation of the Ukrainian army can be monitored by everyone. Ukrainian special forces said that they destroyed one of the valuable systems and a radar with a US-supplied HIMARS and HAR mobility artillery rocket systems. In September 2023 alone, Ukrainian forces hit 5 of the Buk systems in the southeastern Zaporizhia region with the precision strikes, the Ukrainian military center said. Buk air defense systems are designed for the deployment against the enemy aircraft, helicopters, cruise missiles, tactical ballistic and aircraft missiles, and guided bombs in the conditions of heavy enemy counterfire and radio jamming. The upgraded version of the system, the Buk M2, has been in use by the Russian military since 2008 and is capable of hitting up to 24 targets simultaneously. It is known that the Russian military has invaded heavily in the air defense systems. The Ukrainian army is trying to destroy any element that could pose a danger to its own region. After the Ukrainian army's counterattack operations began, it was observed that the Russian targets retreated significantly in certain regions. The Ukrainian army started to use its strategic advantage more clearly. The Russian army initially saw itself in an advantageous position in terms of the capacity and power. But in the current circumstances of the war, Russian army's situation is deplorable. The invasion of Ukraine, which Vladimir Putin characterized as a special military operation, is not a simple operation for the Russian army. Soldiers continue to fight on the front where a serious war is taking place. The Russian army is having a hard time reinforcing its soldiers on the front. In the statement made by the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine the other day, important information was shared. In a statement made, it was determined that approximately 59 combat clashes took place on the front line in the past days. Ukrainian missile units hit 4 Russian artillery units, 3 Russian command centers, and 2 Russian electronic warfare stations. In addition, in the last 24 hours, the Air Force of the Ukrainian Armed Forces attacked Russian troops in the 10 different areas. What do you think about the situation of the Ukrainian army? How do you assess the strategy of the Ukrainian army? What do you think is the biggest problem of the Russian army? What do you think has changed since the first days of the war? How do we interpret the Ukrainian army's counterattacks? We value your opinion. Please share it with us.